Hello and welcome to the Evening News for Thursday, February 27, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Guyana on its way to being blacklisted. Finance Minister was not intoxicated, says Nandalal. Food vendor killed in hit-and-run accident. GDF hosts annual officers conference. Cosmetologist caught with cocaine at CGIA remanded. And the Guyana Cricket Board moves to secure injunction against Parliament to bar consideration of the Cricket Administration Bill. Now for the news in detail. Guyana is on its way to being fourth blacklisted. These are the words of Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandalal after it was confirmed that the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Amendment Bill of 2013 will not be presented before the National Assembly today. We have the details from Michael Young.
Guyana's failure to pass the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Bill of 2013 in the National Assembly today will likely result in further blacklisting, but this time by the Financial Action Task Force. The Caribbean Financial Action Task Force mandated Guyana to submit a progress report in addition to the passage of the bill by Friday, February 28. The report and bill are required for review before the May 2014 plenary meeting. However, when the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Select Committee met today, members were informed that the Chief Parliament Counsel, Cecile Dijon, was unable to complete the draft proposed amendments tabled by a Partnership for National Unity. Despite being made aware of the deadline, the opposition made it clear that the bill will not be presented before the House without its amendments.
It is the same unpalatable and unacceptable grouping of proposals which government has already registered its objections to, as well as the public has disclosed its outrage to.
That was Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandalal. The Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Select Committee Chairperson Gil Teixeira echoed similar sentiments, explaining that the Chief Parliamentary Council is having a great amount of difficulties in composing the proposed amendments because of their complexity and consequential changes that are now required to be made to the Principal Act of 2009.
You are well aware that the APNU's position is that the bill cannot return to the House unless it includes their amendments. And therefore, even in committee, and Bishop Edgehill has on 2 occasions brought a motion to take the amendment bill 22, which was agreed to as amended on February the 9th. And let's go back to the House with that and then discuss a course of action in relation to the APNU amendments. He has put this on the floor twice. Last night he did it again and it was defeated because the government has 3 members, the opposition has 5 members.
But despite the actions of the opposition, Teixeira said the government will play its part, explaining that the report will be submitted to CFATF on February 28, but it will not be accompanied by the bill.
As the chairperson of the committee, I feel very, very disheartened that the amendment bill number 22, which was agreed on by both parties, all parties, on the Sunday meeting on February the 9th, cannot go forward based on the fact that the government does not have the majority in the committee, and the majority in the committee, made up of the opposition, will not allow the bill to return to the House.
For the Evening News, Michael Young reporting.
The Private Sector Commission is again calling on all political parties preventing the passage of the Anti-Money Laundering Bill to rise above their political interests and do what is right for Guyana and its people. Details from Alexis Rodney.
The PSC said in a statement yesterday that it had recently met with the CFATF financial advisor Roger Hernandez when he visited Guyana last week and was well informed about the dangerous position Guyana has taken. The statement said that should Guyana fail to reach the February 28th deadline, extremely severe financial measures will be taken against the country by the Financial Action Task Force. The statement further stated that should Guyana be reported to the Financial Action Task Force and the International Review Group, severe restrictions will be imposed by international financial institutions and companies conducting financial transactions with Guyana. The Commission noted that because the earlier deadlines were missed, a number of international banks have already begun imposing financial restrictions with consequential delays on transacting business with Guyana. It said that those consequences will be felt by the entire population. The Private Sector Commission has already met with Guyana's major political parties, urging them to put the country's interest above their political contention. Guyana continues to weigh in the balance as the February 28th deadline of the passage of the Anti-Money Laundering Bill approaches. The Private Sector Commission said that it cannot overemphasize the fact that irretrievable damage will be done to the country's economy, which will take Guyana more than 2 years to recover. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Meanwhile, the leader of the Alliance for Change, the AFC, Kamraj Ramjatan, says his party's position as it relates to the passage of the anti-money laundering bill has been misrepresented. We have the details in this report.
Alliance for Change leader Kamraj Ramjatan today restated the position that his party has taken on the passage of the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Finance of Terrorism bill, as it sought to avoid further blame and culpability for its imminent non-passage.
This president apparently seemed not to understand the need to have all parties in the process. He wanted to divide and rule, and he's not going to get the Alliance for Change to do that. This is but divide and rule. Wasn't talking to us for 10 months. 2 days to go, he wants to talk to us and say, but what's happening to your procurement commission? Because apparently he was getting nowhere. He doesn't want local government elections and to deal with those acts. Then he comes and pleads that way and then misrepresent publicly as if we did not support local government bills being operationalized by commencement orders and or the assent and so on.
He noted too, somewhat ironically, the anti-money laundering bill should have never reached the stage of bargaining. He nonetheless contended that the government had ample time to agree to set up the Procurement Commission and pass the bills as was requested by the AFC and a Partnership for National Unity.
The faster we operationalize the Public Procurement Commission, the closer we are to passing that bill, the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering of Terrorism bill.
The anti-money laundering bill is scheduled to come up in Parliament for debate or passage today. The opposition parties have indicated that meetings held with the president yesterday have been fruitless, as the politicians could not have arrived at some form of consensus. Reporting for the Evening News, Leroy Bedlow.
Attorney General Anil Nandlall says Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh was not intoxicated when his vehicle crashed into a car at the junction of Garnet and Delft Street, Campbellville on Sunday night. We're joined by Michael Young with the details.
Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh was not intoxicated when the accident occurred on Sunday evening in the city. This is the position of Attorney General Anil Nandlall, who today issued a press statement on the matter. It was disclosed that at about 2100 hours on Sunday, at the junction of Garnet and Delft Streets, Campbellville, Greater Georgetown, the minister was involved in a vehicular collision with a motor car. The minister, Nandlall, said was taken to a city hospital for medical attention shortly after the accident. He added that an associate of the minister facilitated the driver of the vehicle and the lone passenger to be taken to a city hospital for medical treatment. The matter was duly reported to the police and is being investigated, Nandlall said. According to him, without prejudice to the rights of all parties to seek legal recourse, he met with the driver, the owner of the vehicle, and the passenger with a view of exploring the possibility of bringing the matter to an amicable end. The press release stated, and I quote, allegations that the Minister of Finance was intoxicated and failed to submit himself to a breathalyzer test are rejected. Indeed, the Minister was not invited to take a breathalyzer test by anyone, and in fact, the occasion to do so did not present itself, unquote, Nandlall argued in the statement. He said that it is hoped that his disclosure will bring a swift end to the speculations and inaccuracies which are being peddled in the public domain in relation to and in connection with the matter. For the Evening News, Michael Young reporting.
The semi-nude body of a teenage girl was last evening found in the Paradise Cemetery on the east coast of Demerara after she was allegedly raped and strangled. Bishar Mohammed was at the scene and filed this report.
Patricia Cathy Young, 19, formerly of Pleasance East Coast, Demerara, was found covered with dry bushes under a tree in the cemetery last evening. The teenager went missing on Sunday evening last. Her body had started to decompose. Her boyfriend, whose name was given as Jamal, was taken into police custody minutes after the gruesome discovery. At the scene, Kiwiz Young, an uncle of the dead woman, explained what he knew of the incident.
Well, I just heard that Minnie is missing Sunday night. And her boyfriend come yesterday. This is when we get the message where she missing Sunday night. Cause yesterday he come and he tell you where she missing Sunday night and boom, boom, boom. So we end up coming out, we end up getting here. We go to the station and make some reports and so. And then we end up coming up here this afternoon. And we come up with the this afternoon. And cause he tell the police he saw sandals on the road. So we come up to get the sandals and the police are coming and sort and there's how to find the body. Well, we know this guy, she living home together and so we ain't got a problem with it or so you know, we say he taking care of she and everything, anything is she and he. Right, so the village people and I, so if she come in the shop, he and she's be together, anything, them is live real nice, so, you know.
But you have had any issues or so on?
Well, good question, me know if they had any problem or so, I wasn't able to say.
He further described the condition in which his niece was found and what he thought might have happened to the young woman.
The skirt was on top of her belly, and the top was along her neck here. She not had no panty, she put the skin open. They look like somebody had to tamper with she.
There's a double rape.
And finish her. Had to rape she and then do that to them. Actually, they must see the face and then she said anything.
However, a colleague told Evening News when last she heard from Young.
Sunday morning, about 11:29, she asked me, "Ann, what's up?" And I said, "I'm going on the road." And she said, "Okay, have fun." She said, "Where am I going?" I said, "Don't know us yet." I asked her where she's going. She said, "Don't know us yet." And I said, "Okay." And then she said, "Hey, where are you?" That was about 25 after 8 at night. And then I said, "Home." I said, "You ain't going out?" She asked me if me going out. And my word was, "Nah, ma'am, me tired, girl. Plus, I got a cut over my eyes." That was the last word I spoke with her on WhatsApp. And that was wrong 20 to 9 the night, Sunday night. But when Jamal came at work, yes, and asked if we saw her, we said no, she didn't report for work. And we questioned her, said, "Man, where she there?" She didn't know. Me said, "No, she left since Sunday night for go mash." Said she going out, and he said it out. He kissed she, and someone, his friend come and he ended up standing up thank his friend.
The young woman's body was taken to Likens Funeral Home and is awaiting a post-mortem. The former Pleasance Community High School student leaves to mourn her 5 siblings. Bishop Mohammed, The Evening News.
A Mandela Avenue food vendor was on Wednesday evening killed in a hit-and-run accident which left parts of his body mangled. Dead is 45-year-old Claude McPherson, called Chippy, of Lot 169 East Rhineville, Georgetown. The accident occurred sometime before 2200 hours and the driver had fled the scene after hitting the father of 6. However, relatives did not take the issue lightly and conducted their own investigations. This led them to believe that a Guyana Water Incorporated registered vehicle had struck the man down. Relatives barged to the water company's office on Vlissingen Road in the company of the police. After several checks were made, the police took off with a white Nissan Titan PRR 2923. The public relations officer of GWI told reporters that the company is cooperating with the police and refused to shed light on the matter. The driver of the vehicle was reportedly intoxicated and had told another staff that he had hit a horse. This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More news still ahead. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The Guyana Defence Force earlier today opened its annual officers' conference at the Army's base camp, Ayangana. Alexis Rodney reports.
The two-day conference is being held under the theme towards greater operational readiness for national defense and security. Officers converged in the Army's main auditorium at Camp Ayangana and were reminded of their roles and responsibilities as officers. In his address, Army Chief of Staff Brigadier Mark Phillips told the gathering that the future of the Guyana Defence Force should emerge from whatever is undertaken at the event. He said too that the disciplined force, since its establishment, has been charged with the responsibility of protecting every citizen of Guyana.
The role of the Guyana Defence Force, an enduring purpose over the last 48 years, being to maintain the integrity of our borders and defying aggression, assist in the maintenance of law and order when required to do so, and to contribute to national development. Therefore, from its establishment, the Guyana Defence Force was, and today, remain critical to safeguarding our national interests.
He said over the years, almost all of Guyana's geopolitical wars have been fought over territorial disputes. These incidences are reducing, he revealed, since regional state actors are using other measures to promote peace rather than resort to historical trends of aggression and conflict.
We are also aware that Guyana ties with its sister CARICOM countries is the centerpiece of its international relations. Likewise, Guyana's membership of the Union of South American Nations, UNASUR, and its South American Defense Council have both hold forth the prospect of peaceful resolutions of our territorial disputes through diplomacy and mutual respect for international law.
National defense and security are public commodities, the Chief of Staff said. Therefore, it is quite normal for any citizen to be concerned if the state of national security is compromised. The Guyana Defense Force was established on November 1, 1965, with an objective of maintaining order and defending the rights of Guyana. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
President Donald Ramotar has said that Guyana's aggressive diplomacy to territorial disputes has provided support for the maintenance and preservation of Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Let's find out more in this report.
The head of state said that Guyanese diplomats have always been diligently working towards peaceful resolutions towards addressing territorial disputes. He cited the recent controversy over maritime boundaries between Guyana and Suriname and the speedy solution that was had, and urged that respect be shown to these representatives. But while this is honorable, the head of state said, kudos should be given to Guyanese who have the general welfare of this country at heart.
But perhaps the most potent weapon of soft power remains the undivided support of the people of Guyana when it comes to defense and protection of our country. No enemy can prevail against a united people, and the world has several examples and experiences of this. When it comes to our national interests, it is critically important that we always present a united front in the defense of our nation from external threats. We cannot afford any kind of disunity.
The president was at the time addressing officers of the Guyana Defense Force at the annual conference. He assured the officers that they were not alone in the struggle to provide security to the nation. He, however, urged them to be vigilant at all times.
The military must always remain in a state of readiness to confront threats to our national security. It is my government's desire to ensure that within our financial means, the military is provided with the resources to be in a state of readiness.
Addressing the issue of inadequate resources, the head of state said that his government is prepared to do all in its capacity to ensure that the best is provided for the effective execution of the work.
I mentioned that we have to constantly take into consideration our size and the size of our population, that we constantly have to compensate quantity with quality. And our soldiers must be able to carry out multi-tasks. They must be able and be prepared for this.
For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Now for some news from the courts. A duo appeared today before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari in the Georgetown Magistrates Court to answer to the charges of simple larceny and breaking and entering. Troy Harris of Lot 548 Beefield Sophia and Adrian Daly of Lot 198 Charlotte Street in Georgetown both pleaded not guilty to the charges. It was alleged that during the period Saturday, February 22 to Tuesday, February 25, the defendants broke and entered the Guyana Stores Limited. They also pleaded not guilty after it was alleged that during the same period they stole 19 flat-screen televisions valued $2,919,488, 9 DVD players valued $148,000, 2 microwaves, 5 remote controls, 1 curtain set, 1 curling iron, and other items, all valued $3,825,840, all property of the Guyana Stores. Michael Grant, the police prosecutor, said during the period in question, the manager secured the store on Monday, February 24. The manager opened the store and noticed the items mentioned missing, and a report was subsequently made. Grant noted that ranks of the Guyana Police Force, acting upon information received, they caught up with 5 persons, but only 2 were apprehended, and this led the ranks to a house where some of the articles mentioned was found. The other 3 persons escaped. Prosecutor objected to bail because of the seriousness of the offense and the penalties attached. Bail was granted in a sum of $300,000 each. The defendants are expected to make another court appearance on April 2. In case of just joined us, this is the Evening News. Stay tuned for more news ahead. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. A woman was brought before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari today in the Georgetown Magistrates Court to answer to the charge of possession of cocaine. Ashari Corbin of Lot 125 Baggotville, East Bank, Demerara, who is a cosmetologist, pleaded not guilty to the charge after it was alleged that on Wednesday, February 26 at the Chedijagan International Airport, she had in her possession 6.1 kilograms of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. Police prosecutor Oswald Messiah said from statements received that on the day in question, she had 2 packets of an unusual substance in her possession, which was pointed out during a scan of the defendant's suitcase by an officer of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit. The defendant was subsequently arrested. Bail was refused by the Chief Magistrate. The accused is expected to make another appearance tomorrow, February 28, at the Providence Magistrates Court. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit KANU issued a wanted bulletin last evening for the man who is believed to be the main connection to the most recent bust at the Chedijagan International Airport, upon which cocaine was found for the purpose of trafficking. Let's find out more in this report.
A wanted bulletin was issued last evening for Dwayne Williams after evidence received suggested that he was directly linked to the woman who was intercepted with cocaine in her car at the Chedijagan International Airport. According to KANU's prosecutor Oswald Messiah, in court today, the defendant was in Canada at the time when she received a call from Williams, who offered to purchase her tickets to travel to Guyana. She could not have afforded the ticket at the time. He offered to pay her $10,000, but on conditions that the accused trafficker would transport 6.116 kilograms of cocaine back to Canada. The accused arrived in Guyana on February 19. According to the prosecutor, her flight was originally scheduled for February 24, but it was cancelled and rebooked for February 26. KANU said that the wanted man is also known as Dwayne Hubert Williams and Splicer. His known address were given as Greenheart Street, South Ramvelt, Georgetown, and Lot 50, New Hope, East Bank, Demerara. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
This is The Evening News. Stay tuned. More news still ahead. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. President Donald Ramotar joined thousands of Hindus today at the Kovanjon Ashram to celebrate Mahashivratri. We have the details from Gabriela Patram.
Hindus in Guyana and around the world today celebrated Mahashivratri. Thousands of Guyanese devotees gathered at the Kovanjon Ashram on the east coast of Demerara to worship Lord Shiva. They sang bhajans and performed Hawan while offering prayers on other items such as fruits and sweets to Lord Shiva. Mahashivratri is the night of worship of Lord Shiva. It occurs on the 14th night of the new moon during the dark half of the month of February or March, when Hindus offer special prayers to the Lord of Destruction. It is believed that when devotees worship Shiva on this day, he will be most pleased, and also evil will flee from their families and lives. It is also a day where Hindus do not consume any meat or rank. Speaking to the gathering at the ashram was President Donald Ramotar, who applauded the work that the ashram is doing.
We are a multicultural and multi-ethnic society, and we bring our strength together and tolerance, all we bring together, which is very important for our country. We bring different perspective to various issues that we face. But this took a long time in coming. just want, since I see many children here, or students, sorry, not children, but almost adults, but young people, to say that this has not always been the case, that it has been a struggle of our foreparents to get to this point where we were.
Also delivering remarks was Indian High Commission to Guyana acting Theodat Singh, who noted that this day is one of the most important days in the Hindu calendar.
It is heartening to see how perfectly and how purely the Indian religion and Indian traditions, Indian culture has been preserved in this part of the world. And that is why when we come here, we don't feel we are away from home. We feel at home. And it's also a part of the multicultural society of Guyana. India is also a multicultural society, and this is one of the major similarities amongst the two countries.
Meanwhile, Swami Vedanaraj Mahi, who is the director of ashrams in North and South America, told his devotees that the main purpose in life is to serve and help others. He also highlighted that sacrifice is the key to achieving anything, and also that mothers are very important to this world. After the ceremony, persons gathered together at the different locations of the 20-acre ashram and enjoyed delicacies. Mahashivratri will end tomorrow evening. For the evening news, I'm Gabriela Patram.
A man appeared in court today before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari in the Georgetown Magistrates Court, charged with possession of cannabis. Andrew Gordon, aged 22, of Better Hope, East Coast, Demerara, pleaded guilty to the charge after it was alleged that he had in his possession 1 gram of cannabis. The defendant was fined $3,000 by the Chief Magistrate and sentenced to 6 months community service every Sunday at the Palms. Stay tuned. More news still ahead. You're watching Lead News. This is Evening News. Welcome back. The Minister of Natural Resources and the Environment, Robert Prasad, says that much work needs to be done by the quarry operators and producers to meet the mounting demand in Guyana. Alexis Rodney reports.
Minister Prasad said that quarry materials are used for a number of infrastructural works, including road building. He said that he, along with representatives of ministries that are involved in work that require the use of quarry materials, had earlier this year met with operators and producers to advise them of their projects so that they will be able to tailor their work with this in mind. However, until now, work is yet to improve.
But I'm still dissatisfied that the operators are not responding and are not, as it were, producing adequately to satisfy the immediate demands, be it for roads and be it for other areas of the construction sector. A number of reasons have been provided to the ministry, one being in terms of equipment failure, second in terms of labor supply, thirdly in terms of logistics, and there were even issues in terms of clearing of equipment and spares.
Prasad said that the ministry has already spoken with the Guyana Revenue Authority in this regard. He said, however, that much more needs to be done to increase production, as officials have already begun asking questions.
The Cabinet, in fact, has given me the mandate to review even the conditions of quarry license to ensure that this natural resource is adequately utilized and that we are in a situation whereby the country's development is not held back because of inadequate supplies of quarry and quarry material, which is so essential. We have a road program of in excess of $3 billion that requires a substantial amount of quarry material. We have, in terms of housing construction, a number of sea defense projects.
Prasad is encouraging other investors who may want to explore opportunities in quarry production to approach the ministry and the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission.
It is an issue of concern to the government, and I again want to encourage and implore the quarry operators that we are not dissatisfied. It's coming to the end of the second month. We've looked at January production. It is a bit below what was the same production, what was recorded in January 2013. And certainly with the reports we've gotten and what we've seen some of the output, we want to sound this warning. We want to issue this call very early and to show that it's an issue that we take very seriously.
For the evening news, Alexis Rodney.
Republic Bank Guyana Limited on Wednesday rewarded the two most outstanding graduates of the University of Guyana. Receiving the awards were Best Graduating Student in the Social Sciences, Eileen Murray, who graduated with a bachelor's degree, and Vikash Prasad, who graduated with a diploma in Banking and Finance. In a simple ceremony held at the bank's head office on New Market Street, Mr. John Alves, the Managing Director of Republic Bank Guyana Limited, extended congratulations to the awardees, expressing that academic excellence is critical to national development. Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Jacob Opodei, was also present at the ceremony and expressed thanks to the bank for its interest in the development of the university and the country at large. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the evening news. Stay tuned for sport, sponsored by Macquarie. This is the evening news. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport. In the headlines, Chandapal's century in vain as West Indies under-19s go down to India. Guyana and Jamaica square off in regional 4-day opener tomorrow. Asuria Insurance renews commitment to tennis tourney, and Basketball Federation launches Road to Mecca Club Tournament. Of course, our sportscast comes to you with the compliments of Macquarie.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. That is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Macquarie, let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Now for the details, we start with cricket news. The Guyana Cricket Board today moved to the High Court to secure an injunction that would seek to halt Parliament's consideration of the government-proposed Cricket Administration Bill, which is being piloted by Culture, Youth and Sport Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. Speaker of the National Assembly, Raphael Trotman, addressed the issue today.
I have not had a chance to read this document, and I hold the view that the court can't injunct this House from proceeding with the debate on the bill. For my own part, I would like a chance, however, to read what is being said here. It's looks like about 300 or more pages, or at least a ream of paper. I don't know whether I will need legal counsel, or whether or not the matter really is of no moment. Nevertheless, I do believe that some time should be taken, but I did confer with members of both government and opposition on the matter, and it is believed that perhaps you could adjourn or defer today's reading, subject of course to the wish of the members, but I certainly, being named as respondent, unfortunately once again, have not had a chance to go through these 300 plus pages that were served on me this morning.
Tej Narain Chandapal continued his fine form in the Youth World Cup with 100, but the West Indies under-19s lost by 46 runs to India in the 5th place playoff. India batted first and piled up a mammoth 340 for 8 from the allotted 50 overs, with 3 of their top-order batsmen getting half-centuries. The Guyanese spinner Gudakesh Moti Kanai claimed 3 for 52 for the West Indies, who replied with 294 for 8 when the overs ran out. The young Chandapal scored 112, while Nicholas Puran supported with a 43-ball 54. Chandapal and Puran were the West Indies' best batsmen in the tournament. Puran made 303 runs, while Chandapal scored 293. Both of them played 6 games. Still in cricket, led by the veteran batsman Shivnarine Chandapal, Guyana will begin the quest for top honours in this year's regional 4-day competition against host Jamaica tomorrow. A keenly contested match is in the making, as both teams would look to start a campaign on a winning note. Here are details. Both teams have a band of quality and experienced players, but the Jamaicans may have the edge going into the match since they will be more familiar with the conditions at Sabina Park. However, the Guyanese would depend on the likes of skipper Shivnarine Chandapal and fellow middle-order batsman Ramnaresh Sarwan to shoulder the responsibility, since they would have played several test matches and ODIs on the ground. Sunarine Chattergoon, Narsingh Dunarine and Asset Fuddin are experienced campaigners, having played well over a decade at a first-class level, while Christopher Barnwell will look to prove he's more than just a limited over specialist. The bowling will hinge around the spin twins Devendra Bishu and Veerasamy Perumal, with Runsford Beaton and Keon Joseph sharing the new ball. Middle-order batsman Vishal Singh and leg spinner Amir Khan, who was drafted in to replace the injured Leon Johnson, could be the ones to sit out of the starting 11. The Guyana squad is Sunarine Chattergoon, Asset Fuddin, Ramnaresh Sarwan, Narsingh Dunarine, Shivnarine Chandapal the captain, Anthony Bramble, Christopher Barnwell vice-captain, Amir Khan, Veerasamy Perumal, Devendra Bishu, Runsford Beaton, Keon Joseph and Vishal Singh. Jamaica, with 7 players boasting international experience, will be led by the highly successful Tamar Lambert. The hosts' final 11 will come from Tamar Lambert captain, David Bernard Jr., Carlton Baugh Jr. the wicketkeeper, Jerome Taylor, Nkrumah Bonner, Andre Russell, Sheldon Cotterell, Andre McCarthy, Jermaine Blackwood, John Campbell, Horace Miller, Jamie Merchant and Andrew Richardson. On the international scene, Umar Akmal's second ODI 100 was enough to hand Pakistan victory over Afghanistan in match 3 of the Asia Cup. After being 78 for 1, Pakistan slipped for 117 for 6 before Akmal led a low-order revival to help his team to 248 for 8 with a composed 102 not out from 89 balls. In reply, the Afghan batsman never threatened to chase down the target, falling for 176 in 47.2 overs to lose by 72 runs. Mohammad Hafiz claimed 3 for 29, while there were 2 wickets apiece for Saeed Ajmal and Umar Gul. The Asia Cup will continue tomorrow with India playing Sri Lanka. Now some tennis news. Fully cognizant of its corporate responsibility, Asurya Insurance has recommitted to sponsoring the Guyana Tennis Association's Invitational Classic, set to serve off tomorrow. The company presented a check for an undisclosed amount to the association this morning at its main office on Church Street. Here details. The competition, which was created in 2013, is the brainchild of the Surinamese insurance company under the management of Dick Wessenhagen, who, being an avid tennis player, made a commitment to sponsor the tournament on an annual basis. It will feature the top 4 players in each of the main singles categories, men's, women's and men's over 35. The format of the tournament for each category is round robin. The tournament will be played at the Lurie Souvenir Tennis Club over 3 weekends, and it will serve off on Friday and end on March 16. In presenting the sponsorship check to Vice President of the Tennis Association, Grace McCalman, Director of Asurya Insurance, Arman Achaiba said the company was simply fulfilling its corporate responsibility by giving back to the society in which it operates.
Asurya came in this community, I would not say this market, but this community, as a member of this community some 2 years ago. And this is an evidence that we feel a member of this community by supporting community activities. In this case, the Tennis Association, we've just handed over a check to finance part of the activities of the Tennis Association.
Vice President of the Guyana Tennis Association, Grace McCalman, said the local governing body is sincerely grateful for the support offered by the insurance company, which has been operating in Guyana for the past 2 years. She also spoke of the importance of the tournament to the Tennis Association and the development of the game locally.
Having the Asurya Invitational, where we showcase our top players, it's surely a way to attract more people to the sport, and the intention is to make Asurya Invitational very big and have international participants, so we're happy for the continuation of sponsorship.
In the ladies' open singles, the top players are Carol Humphrey, Nicola Ramdian, Afruka Gentle and Jamali Homer. In the men's open singles, Anthony Downs, Leland Leacock, Gavin Lewis and Daniel Lopes will battle for top honours, and in the men's over 35, it will be a four-way battle among Godfrey Loudon, Carlos Adams, Harry Pandey and Rudy Grant. And finally, some basketball news. Interclub rivalry will tip off on Saturday when the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation's Road to Mecca tournament gets underway at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall. Tristan Joseph attended the launch and filed this report.
Basketball will have its new mega tournament when the Road to Mecca brings together 16 of the top clubs across Guyana. President of the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation, Nigel Hines, explained the purpose of the tournament.
National Club Championship, and we have really invested in it in terms of making it a marquee event where we have the 16 top clubs in Guyana competing for not just for prize money but for to secure the ranking as the number one team in Guyana at the club level.
Vice President of the GABF and President of the Georgetown Amateur Basketball Association, Michael Singh, noted that all systems are a go while revealing the Federation's plan to bring fans back to the sport.
In relation to the fans, to win back your support, the President mentioned that we got some replica jerseys. There will also be nightly giveaways from two businesses that I'm associated with in relation to dinners and stuff like that for lucky ticket holders.
After Adrian George of the Guyana Basketball Officials Council noted the referee's commitment to the tournament, captain of the Pepsi Sonics, Jason Squires, was grateful for the competition.
And I'd like to say a very, very thanks to the association for starting off the year with a good tournament like this, and we're looking forward to see many more.
The tournament will start on Saturday from 1800 hours with the Bounty Colts taking on Rose Hall Jammers.
And with that, we've come to the end of sport. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and in Unicary, Suriname. Stay tuned. Your Bridge Reports are next.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. That is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Mark on. Let's build Guyana together.
This is Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed on Friday, February 28 at 14 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Friday, February 28 at 15 hours 45 for a period of 1.5 hours. And with that, we've come to the end of the Evening News for Thursday, February 27, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.